lives in a special way. Public education has been a constant force throughout my life. When I was a young lad, my family and I loaded up our lives, picked ourselves up by our bootstraps, and left the cold, rocky terrain of the East for the sunny lands of opportunity, Southern California. It was at the age of 5 when I was first enrolled in kindergarten where I first came to know public education. Over the years, public education was a great friend, a constant throughout my life in a world of uncertainty. We are gathered here for the eulogy for public education. Sure, we didn't always see eye to eye on many things. We had our disagreements, geometry, algebra, and those dastardly multiplication tables. But I now know that public education always had what was best for me, what was best for all of us. Public education wanted us to become productive members of society, to better ourselves and the community. Public education had a dream that regardless of history, of economics, regardless of social situations, that anyone and everyone who worked hard could get a college education. And for a while, that dream was a reality. However, over the years, public education has been chipped at, slowly taken apart, and deconstructed. While defense budgets continue to rise and failing and egregious corporations were bailed out, public education was left to fend for itself, pushed aside and ignored. And so, public education began to be bled to death. Just 1 year ago, the state legislature put $11.6 billion to be cut. I, as all of you, watched helplessly public education is slowly being destroyed. And just a few months later, public schools were asked to absorb another $800 million to $1.4 billion in the final month of the official school year, an additional $1.6 billion to $3.3 billion in the next school year. The very situation we find ourselves in today. This is just the latest of the nails that have been put in this coffin that has been laid upon public education past decades. Almost 50 years ago, then Governor Pat Brown signed the Master Plan for Public Education, a pledge that every Californian would get a fair shot at a taxpayer-supported education. Today, that pledge is faltering. Burdened by decades of passive state oversight and a blurring of priorities, public education as always, the first to suffer. They say that there is no room to accommodate the students. There was room a year ago. What happened? They say there is no money to accommodate the students. There certainly was money a year ago. What happened? The economy floundered, they say. Due to the excess and greed of those money manipulators on Wall Street, tens of thousands of otherwise eligible students were unable to attend public universities and get a public education in California, presumably because they were told there was no money and no room for them. It seems that the powers that be are making it as hard as possible for people to get a higher public education in California. But when those malicious actions that brought us to the current state of economic downturn are rewarded with a bailout, under the guise that they are too big to fail, the innocent and always unprotected public education suffers. Cut after cut after cut. Public education slowly withered and died away. Public education only wanted us to love it as much as it loved us. We must not rest. We must not stop until justice, until redemption is made, and we give back one iota of love and effort that public education gave us for all of our lives. Thank you. And we will now pay our respects, lay the final resting place to public education. defense of our education. We're going to begin this march. Y'all ready? Make some noise! Ain't no power like the power of the students, because the power of the students don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the students, because the power of the students don't stop. Say what? Ain't no power like the power of the students, because the power of the students don't stop. Ain't no power like the power of the students, because the power of the students don't stop.